So, hello to everyone. In this lecture, we are going to discuss one of the most important theme of environmental studies, that is the relationship between humans and the environment. So, this topic helps us to understand how human life depends on nature and how our activities in turn affect the natural system. From daily survival needs like air and water to large scale issues like climate change, the interaction between humans and the environment plays a crucial role. So, this particular module will also help us to understand sustainability, traditional knowledge, industrial impact, and ethical responsibility towards nature. So, in the next slide, we are going to discuss about the concept and man-environment interaction. So, you can see very clearly that the relationship between the humans and the environment is not one-sided, right? It is dynamic and reciprocal. Humans depends on the environment, especially for food, water, and energy, but at the same time urban activities continuously modify natural systems through agriculture, industrialization, urban development, and technology. Human influence land, water, air, and biodiversity. On the other hand, environmental conditions such as climate, availability of resources, and natural hazard shape human settlements, occupation, health, and lifestyle. Therefore, man environment interaction is a continuous complex process. In the next slide, we are going to discuss about the different components of the environment. So in this, you can see our environment consists of both natural as well as man-made components. So the environment consists of several interconnected components that together support life on Earth. The physical environment influence landforms, climate, water bodies, soil, etc., which directly influence agriculture, habitation, and natural processes. The biological environment includes especially plant, animals, microorganisms that form overall ecosystem and the food chain. So the human environment consists of populations, settlements, technology, institutions, and culture. So all these components interact with each other, and any change in components affect the entire environmental system. The whole environment, either the physical, biological, or human environment, it affects all the components of the environment. In the next slide, stages of man environment interaction. So, in this slide, we are going to discuss step by step the different stages in which the interaction has evolved through the different stages. In this, man environment interaction has evolved through different stages over time. In the primitive stage, you can see there are primitive stage, agriculture, industrial, and post-industrial stages. So in primitive stage, humans were completely dependent on nature and lived by hunting and gathering. During the agricultural stage, human began domesticating plants and animals, leading to settled life and modification of land. And the industrial stage specifically marked the use of machines, fossil fuels, and large scale resource extraction, increasing environmental pressure. In the post industrial stage, advanced technology and globalization have intensified human impact on the environment at global level. So, so these are the different stages in which the interaction has evolved through different stages. In the next slide, we are going to discuss about the man-environment interaction and sustainable development. Nowadays, sustainable development is one of the very important component which are required to discuss. So, the sustainable development specifies and emphasizes the need for a balanced relationship between the human and the whole environment. It focuses on the meeting the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. Economic development must go hand in hand with environmental protection. Unsustainable use of resources leads to pollution, resource depletion, and ecological imbalance. Therefore, responsible human behavior, ethical values, sustainable practices are essential to maintain harmony between human and nature and ensure long term human well being. Now, in the next slide, that is on Indic knowledge and sustainability. So, in this, we can discuss Indic knowledge system specifically represents the traditional wisdom developed in the Indian subcontinent over thousands of years. So, this system, particularly as sacred and life supporting rather than something to be exploited. So, concept such as Prakriti, meaning nature, Panch Mahabhutas, and the five elements, or the cosmic order emphasize harmony and interconnectedness. So, sustainability in Indic thought is based on balanced restraint and respect of natural limits, ensuring that human needs are fulfilled without disturbing ecological equilibrium. So, specifically in this slide, it specifies that the ecological balance is one of the very important thing that always keep in our mind. We have to use our resources in balanced nature and in a proper ratio for our sustainable development. In the next slide, that is on cultural practices promoting sustainability. So, in this, Indian culture specifically promotes sustainability through everyday practices, tradition, and ethical values. Like the principles ahimsa encourage non-violence towards all living beings with limited consumption and avoidance of greed. The idea of this reminds us that the entire world is one family. Traditional practices such as sacred groves, water harvesting systems like step wells, tanks, organic farming, and the seasonal lifestyle reflect sustainable living and contribute to conservation and biodiversity protection. So, the in the next slide, that is on, we are going to discuss about the industrial revolution, its background and the future. So, the industrial revolution began in the 18th century and marked a major shift from agrarian economy to industrial societies. So, the introduction of machine, steam power, factory based production transformed tradition method of production. Coal and later oil become major source of energy while industries such as textile and iron expanded rapidly. This period also saw the growth of transportation network and rapid growth, significantly increasing human dependence on natural resources. Now, environmental impact of the industrial revolution. So, actually, the this is very important topic to discuss, that environmental impact on our environment due to of heavy industrialization, urbanization, and our developmental practices. So the industrial revolution has serious environmental consequences. The massive use of fossil fuel led to air pollution, increased carbon dioxide emission, Industrial waste and untreated effluent polluted rivers and underground water, large scale deforestation occurred to meet the demand of raw materials and urban expansion, resulting in habitat destruction and biodiversity loss. Unplanned urban growth created several problems such as solid waste accumulation, poor sanitation, and public health hazard, contributing to long-term environmental crisis. So this is very important to keep in our mind that development is important, but the sustainable development is very, very important. The proper use of natural resources, keeping always in environment about the environmental protection, proper implementation of the guideline, etc., etc. Now the next topic is environmental ethics. So, specifically, environmental ethics is the branch of philosophy that examine moral relationship between human beings and the natural environment. So, this is actually the proper balance between the human beings and the natural environment. It focuses on this. So, also it emphasizes that human have ethical responsibility not only towards other humans but also towards nature. Our responsibility towards nature is very, very important because nature is the big source of our survival. The quality of water, the quality of air, the quality of soil are the major components. We are dependent on these resources. So it is very important to keep in our mind for environmental ethics. Emergence of environmentalism. So emergence of environmentalism as a response to increasing environmental degradation caused by industrialization, urbanization and population growth. Rising level of pollution, specifically deforestation, biodiversity loss, resource depletion created public concern and scientific awareness about environmental limits. So, environmentalism developed into a social and political movement aimed at protecting the environment through conservation, environmental laws, and public awareness for sustainable development practices. It has played a significant role in shaping environmental policies and global cooperation. So, if we conclude all these slides, so the interaction between human and the environment determines both environmental health and human survival. So, traditional knowledge, ethical values, modern sustainability, um, practices and principles together provide solution to current environmental challenges. Understanding our responsibility toward nature is essential for protecting our environment for our present as well as our future generation. With this understanding, we can move forward a more balanced and more sustainable way of living. So, thank you for today listening very carefully. Thank you so much.